Hey y'all, we are making salmon today. So I'm going to make fried salmon patties. I have another video on it, but this is an updated version. And I think I'm going to make the Copycat Red Lobster Biscuits to go with it. So let's get to cooking. So the first thing I do is I drain it. And I have learned since the last video to reserve the juice. So I'm going to drain it in a colander in this bowl. So I just go through here and I separate the bones. So there's not much juice at all, and I just need a couple of spoonfuls. So I'll put the recipe in the description box, but I just kind of eyeball it all. I think it's supposed to be about a half a cup of flour in here. And then I'm going to add this juice of the salmon, just a couple of tablespoons back in. We've added our flour. We're going to add some salt and some pepper. Y'all, I love onions, and Sweet Hunter doesn't like the texture. I'm sure some of you know that. So I'm adding some onion powder. The onions would be fantastic in this, but if you can't do it, add some onion powder. And I also always slip a few of these in because it's the texture of the onion he doesn't like. He eats onion all the time. He just doesn't know it. So I'm going to throw a few of these in. Maybe a little bit more. They are minced so fine that when it cooks up, they hydrate. They're dried minced onions. I love them. For me, it's great. Of course, I'd rather go to the garden and get a green onion. Now, I had one of these very expensive eggs. Oh, how I wish I had my chickens. And I'll get them in the spring. But oh, how I wish I had them. I always put my egg, and I've probably told y'all that a lot of times. But just for the ones that are learning or don't know, I try, I'm not saying I always do it, to put my egg in a separate bowl in case shells get in it. And I've taught little Huddy that, and he's learned it. He's learned how to get a shell out. He's so smart. If you don't know little Huddy, you need to go look at the breakfast casserole recipe. He's so sweet. And he's got a short on where he's whisking eggs. And he tells about what he knows about kangaroos. He's honestly, he's mine, but he's smart. You got to take that after his pops. Or his daddy or mama. I guess I could give them credit. So we're just going to stir this up. If it looks like it needs a little more flour, just add a little more flour, which I think this does. You don't want it too dry, but you want it where you can form some patties. And I added that extra juice, so that's probably why. But I just think that'll make it taste so good. And if you get it too dry, you've got your extra juice. Just add a little juice. Play with it until you can make patties out of it. And this is looking really good. So we're going to add just a little bit of vegetable oil. A question I had, I'm trying to answer a few questions on here, is do I wash my iron skillets with soap? And if they're really dirty, yes, I do. And how do I season them? Every time I dry one, I put some olive oil or vegetable oil in a paper towel and wipe it out. And another question I had about the iron skillets, let me go and turn this on. Let's see, I think it's this one. And get this pan hot, is the iron skillets on my wall. Do I use them? Absolutely. This is my grandmother Cochran's iron skillet. My mom gave it to me before she left us because she knew I would take care of it. And most of the ones that you see on the wall when I do thumbnails or do the ending of my videos, they are our grandparents, mostly Sweet Hunter's grandparents. So his granny, she loved them too. So now we're just going to make patties. My iron skillet should be getting hot. And all I'm going to do, I took my rings off, and I'm going to make just some small patties. And like I say, if you need more flour, put more flour on it. These are going to be delicious. That pan is not quite hot enough, but it will be in a minute. You can make them any size you want. You can add anything you want to in them. It's really awesome what you can do with these. I love any kind of fish, seafood, that's what I love. So even fried salmon patties. And to me, there's so much better when you fry them in an iron skillet. Don't these look good? So if you don't know, the canned salmon is fully cooked. We eat it a lot for snacks. So we will take the bones out and we'll eat it with crackers and horseradish. It is so good. So frying the canned salmon is not the only way you can eat it. I love it on crackers. This is going to be delicious. So I just realized y'all might want to see me make the little biscuits. All I do is make my regular biscuits, the 2-ingredient biscuits. I had already started this. I said it's a copycat recipe. I just kind of make my own, y'all. So this calls for some cheese, and I don't think that's enough, and that's what I had left over from the shredded. And my only other cheese is frozen, and it's not thawed out. I've got it out, so I need to find a knife, is what I was going to say. But I had this little dab of cream cheese left. It will do just fine in here, and I'm just going to cut it up and add it in here, and that'll take care of the cheese. I have some feta too that is downstairs, and I just don't want to walk downstairs to get it. But I'm just going to stir all this up. And like I say, if you need to add more heavy whipping cream, that's fine. And that's all that's going to go in these biscuits. So you don't have to make it like I did with the cream cheese. If you've got shredded cheese, throw that shredded cheese in there. And I'm just trying to use what I have. So I'm going to use my cookie scoop that I bought. If I can find it. I just saw it. There it is. I need a bigger one, but I want to make this just a little bit different from biscuits. And they are more like drop biscuits. So I'm going to just put them on a cookie sheet in small scoops like this. I've got my oven preheated at 425, I believe, if I didn't tell you. You can make these big, little. There's no rule on this. There's no rule on anything in the kitchen to me. Now, we will have leftovers of these. I'm going to have to get another cookie sheet. We'll have leftovers of these, and I'll freeze them. So I've got my melted butter. I'm adding a little onion powder, a few basil leaves, and again, I had them in my planters that my friend Anne Marie gave me, that made for me. I'm going to add some garlic powder. But I didn't want to walk out there. It sounds windy and cold. The wind chimes are going. And I just didn't want to do it. So that's what's going in. And I brush this on after the biscuits come out of the oven. So today we're having salmon patties, green peas just out of the can, and mashed potatoes. And I'll show you them. No trouble. Just this. And I had it. So everything's out of my pantry. I just made biscuits, and I'm trying to copycat the Red Lobster, but I made my regular 2-ingredient biscuit recipe, and throw some cheese in there, and then I'm going to brush them with melted butter with some herbs on it. It ought to be really good. The little biscuits are done. Does that look pretty? That looks so pretty. They're beautiful. I think beautiful is my word. Everybody says I say it on every video. But I'm going to brush these with the melted butter. Well, the story of my life, y'all. I can't find my little brush that I can use a spoon. So this will go right over top of these. May have to make some more. Smells so good. Look at them though. Isn't that beautiful? Now I just made regular biscuits, or my regular biscuits that I like to make. I scooped them out with a cookie scooper. Don't know what size it is. I added cheese to it. I didn't have enough, so I added cream cheese. I bet it's going to be absolutely delicious. So I added a little shredded cheese, a little bit of cream cheese, just using what I had. And then I poured melted butter with some herbs on top of it. I'm going to taste one right now. See how tiny they are? But they turned out perfect, I think. Just as good. That's delicious. Have y'all watched my crouton video? Well, I love my croutons. I can eat them like chips. I hardly buy chips. We do have some in the freezer. But I know how to make them too. But those are as good as my croutons. Salmon patty. And I'm going to go ahead and taste this. What can I say? Pantry challenge meal. I'm also going to make a blackberry cobbler. Real simple. Blackberry cobbler. And I've got my blackberries thawing out now, and with sugar on top. So y'all go cook something.